Good afternoon. Very happy to see you all after 2 years away. And we'll be playing some rainy day music and some music, most of it written way before any of us existed, which may be just the right thing for a day like this. I want to start, as some of you have been here before, I stumbled through a very heartfelt thank yous for a while. We wouldn't be here without sponsorship. It's at the front of your programs, your very elaborately informative programs. I'd like to mention just the festival co-sponsors, June and Sandy Lee, and the virtual season live streaming sponsors, Paul and Carol Collins. But there is a whole list on that first page that you should take a look at. Again, we're grateful for all of their interest in many cases over many years. Also wish to mention the media sponsors, WORT, Wisconsin Public Radio, and arts organizations that have sponsored us for many years, Dane Arts and the Edu Foundation. And it's a little hard to navigate this time. Is to welcome for the first time the JSH&M Quartet, our guests later in the program. Artists who have never appeared with us before. We've heard them in town, but we're very happy they're with us today. I wish to lament the absence of one of the regulars of our house band, Tom Arden, who has had some health problems, was unable to make the trip this year. So we will play as a trio. We will think of Tom, who's been here for, I think, 14 of our seasons. We will be playing music today of Irving Berlin, one of the two great pop composers that we neglected in our 14-year series. The other one was Cole Porter. Maybe we were running a little bit of discrimination against songwriters who write both the lyric and the music, of which they're just about the only ones. But we're really glad to be getting to Berlin this year. Sarah Schaffer advocated this very much, and we're discovering in this music, as is inevitable, a lot we didn't know about it. We will start, in fact, with a piece that is from a movie called Top Hat, which came out way back in 1935, over a century ago, which still seems about as fresh if you rent the movie or put it on your TV as it was when it was minted. And we're also going to start with a rainy day song. So I'd like to welcome my two cohorts, now just two, not three, as planned, with our Irving Berlin set. I may have a little bit to say about the pieces, more than you want to hear maybe, but if you were to be looking at Top Hat, you'd see Fred Astaire early in the movie trying to interest Ginger Rogers, he's standing in a space with a gazebo, and she appears rather strangely attired in a riding crop. And he sings some music which is, in the old days, called the verse. In the opera world, it's called the recitative. It is this sort of between thing that happens before the full song takes place. And it's known in the music theater world as the hardest thing to do well. A transition that's almost impossible to make happen in the right way. So instead of hearing Astaire singing, I'll just remind you not of how he sounds, but weather is frightening, the thunder and lightning seems to be having a way, in this very kind of improvisatory style. And then finally, when the tune finally comes, isn't it a lovely day to be caught in the rain? A line which a real flow to it, which is the song. And we love to celebrate in thinking about these songs the very vocal quality, the incredible unity of the words with the music, which is why our director, Sarah Schaffer, has provided you with all the words, and we really encourage you to read along. And I'm going to start our little set, as you see it on the program, by playing that verse before the guys come in.
And because you have the words also, then you don't listen to us and else make them.
Okay.
Is this where we insert change partners?
Then we did Blue Skies. No, it's not.
Blue skies, okay. Blue skies.
They have it, they don't have it.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Change.
Blue Skies, said to be one of Mr. Berlin's most popular songs, and he's wrote a lot of popular songs. He is known to be the sovereign of every American holiday, and he liked to remark about, in his later life, the fact that as a young Jewish guy who had no formal education, musical or learning type, that if it got to be 4th of July or Easter or any national holiday, they're going to be singing an Irving Berlin song. Blue Skies is not one of those pointed for a holiday song, but it's amazing how much it will turn up at such events if the weather happens to be nice.
First 8 part.
that piece is as simple and direct as really a song can be. And Berlin was famous for being able to be very straightforward like that. The next song is something, as they say, entirely different. It's one of the Berlin songs that's often referred to as among his Mata Hari songs. Kind of a lot of espionage is going on in this piece.
What are you playing, John?
lost in the sands of history. Really beautiful writing. And so sophisticated in so many detail, it makes you wonder at the known facts about Irving Berlin, which I was able to ascertain from one of his assistants. He worked all through his life with an assistant to help him notate, that with someone who could, not too sure how to notate the piece, but knew what the piece sounded like. And it sounded like that, I guess. It was something remarkable. Okay, now,
If I could interject, John was making a comment the other night that most of these songs don't ever show up in standard jazz repertoire because Irving Berlin wanted nothing to do with his tunes being played for jazz. So these are, almost every one of these tunes are sort of new to me and everybody.
yeah, he was very, very good businessman, and he wanted them to be on the airwaves, and he wanted them to be in shows. But I had the great distinction of actually being sued by him at a late stage for very small usage of a little stretch of Always, which we wanted my publisher to fork up a sum of money which they would never need to pay me for an entire career. Yes, he was a good businessman and was someone who was also an avid performer. If some of you remember the Second World War, all the way back to there, that Irving Berlin was out there with the troops singing, leading this troupe of his own performers all over the world. What a tremendous patriot and extraordinary citizen of the country. Now, are we up for How About Me?
How about it?
This is a pretty sad little song. really edifying part of the program. I know you were probably fearing that, but this is the edifying part of the program. I'm going to read a paragraph written by a frequent attendee of the Token Creek Festival. I hope some of you were around when he was here. Our board member, Bob Graebner, is the photographer, as it happens, of the photograph that's going to appear on this philosopher's forthcoming posthumous book, Stanley Cavell. And here's his remarks about the next song we're going to play. It's just a paragraph, but it's pretty dense, and I don't apologize for that. This is from The Thought of Movies, and he starts by quoting the first lines of the song, which you've got on your program. Fabulous lines, some of the best Berlin lyrics ever. He starts out, as you know, with one word, heaven. It's one of the few songs that just starts with heaven. You never forget it once you hear it. Heaven, I'm in heaven, and the cares that hung around me through the week seem to vanish like a gambler's lucky streak when we're out together dancing cheek to cheek. And here's Stanley Cavell speaking. A stanza such as this was what I thought of as poetry. Nothing else will be poetry for me that cannot compete with the experience of concentration and lift in such words. It seems to me that I knew this then to be an experience not alone of the behavior and intelligence of those words with one another, nor only in addition of the wit and the beauty of invoking a gambler's run of luck, but that was an experience of these, though I would have lacked yet words of my own to say so, together with the drama of using the vanishing of the streak, which is a bad thing, as a simile for the vanishing of cares and access to heaven, which is a good thing, as if beyond bad and good there were a region of chance and risk within which alone the intimacy emblematized and mythologized in the dancing of Astaire and Rogers could be realizable. So that's Stanley Cavell thinking still about those words as he pursued his career in philosophy. And these are extraordinary words. They take off in a really unusual way, and I think once you hear them in the song sung by a singer, which you won't tonight, you don't forget them. We're going to play Cheek to Cheek, a really strangely, unusually shaped song. It's easy to get sort of mesmerized by how strange it is. But think about these words if you have to remember the song. We're right on schedule. We got one more. And then we'll take a little break for a different set. This is a piece from the very last part of Berlin's extremely long career. He began writing in the 20s, maybe even the 15s, and wound up in the 50s producing a show called Ain't Got Your Gun, which had some of his really best writing. Unusually long career for a songwriter. This is a piece which is also a very unusually made piece. Which is all the best thing for you would be me.
Do you do an intro or whatever?
I think we'll just start in.
We didn't practice.
Wish me luck. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is,
We've had a really fun day here. Did John tell you what happened? A tree went down on the power line. Ooh, that was 10 o'clock. Then things got even more interesting. Anyway, it's great you're here. Thanks for coming. And we have power. So we can talk about these pieces? You know, I don't know anything to say.
since I read an entire paragraph by Stanley Cavell, I think I just won't introduce these pieces. I don't have another paragraph by Stanley Cavell here. Okay.
Are we done? That's very short. Can I have an A? Let me do the D. That's almost okay. It's me and the music. We're really organized, you know. Me today? Oh, that's a good one.
Mom's favorite song.
How about a nice intro? voices. You have to be really dumb to not be able to do it.
Another favorite of monks.
Well, that's famous last words.
Oh, what is it?
This is for Sarah and John.
Oh, yeah.
It's called The Nearness of You. That one.
Okay, dedication.
Testing. Well, welcome. Poor Jim and I are up here too much. Again, I'm John Schaffer. My wife Sarah runs this whole thing for the Harbisons. Thanks for the Harbisons. We thought with the jazz tonight we were going to do something we've not done before. We just put a little modern jazz in here. So we had during the COVID, most musicians weren't playing. Harbisons were so wonderful to let us sort of come and do some rehearsing in the barn because it's a big open space. And so we started doing stuff, and sort of a takeoff my last 5 years of teaching. I was writing arrangements for jazz students at school, and a kind of modern arrangements. And so we decided to put together this band and do some new tunes that sort of follow a different trend. What's happened in the last 20, 30 years, more and more jazz musicians are not doing the standards, but the musicians themselves are writing tunes. So virtually, at least 4 of the 5 tunes we'll play tonight were written by the musicians who then play it in their band as part of their original materials. It's also, the last 20, 30 years has seen a huge rise in university-educated jazz players. So it's much more complicated. It's more like what you would hear as a big band chart, but done with a small group. So these are going to be fairly highly arranged in the heads, and I hope you enjoy it. And I'll talk a little about each one once we do start. So for those of you who came to the very first Token Creek Jazz about 15 years ago, the whole thing was focused on blues. So our first song is going to be a song written by the guitarist Kenny Burrell, which is sort of a modern take on a blues. This is called Midnight Blue. Thank you. I hope you like the rest of it too. The second tune has a little bit of a Wisconsin connection. There's a fairly well-known jazz trumpeter by the name of Jim Rotundi, who was in New York and LA, had some ties originally to Milwaukee, where he happened to meet another pianist who was out in LA, David Hazeltine, very well known, who also had some Milwaukee ties. So this started a collaboration with these two gentlemen for about the next 8 or 9 years. And they put many, many albums out with these intensely, beautifully arranged heads. So we're going to do one of those now. It's called Ruth by Jim Rotundi. Because this is their first time, Mr. Vince Jesse on the guitar, and Mr. Paul Mensch on the piano. Oh. Jim, you know, I'll stop playing solos. So I sort of offered a little bit of a fib about not doing, like old songbook stuff, but to many people of my age, for example, the old songbook is actually somebody you probably remember by the name of Burt Bacharach. And a tune you probably remember called The Look of Love. But this is pulled in here because the arranger was the pianist who works with Jim Rotundi, David Hazeltine. So I hope you enjoy this one. interesting is Burt Bacharach has become almost like old school now. It's sort of a revival. The David Hazeltine has an entire recording, he's about 8 years old, of nothing but those all those tunes from Bacharach and David. We're going to do a couple more. This one is again by Jim Rotundi. It just has a nice feel to it. The name of the tune is Falset. one more tune. And this is a little bit different. I don't know if any of you have heard of this superstar little young pianist by the name of Joey Alexander. He actually came to town about 10 years ago. I think he started playing jazz when he's 4 or 5 years old. He actually wrote this tune, if I understand, when he was 11. And then it was so nice that it got picked up by a French film studio, and they used it for the title music for the film. I don't know what the film was, but the name of the tune is called Bali, B-A-L-I. I think it's a nice, cheerful tune, and that's how we'll end our set for tonight.